Hello. Welcome back to your second night at King of the What Now?
We're so glad. We thought that maybe you wouldn't have come back for a second night, not because you were going to be attacked by a movie, but because...
Well, the first movie, it was just, it was.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a super quick review of the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. And I'm your host, Joel. We don't have a name for this series, it's just a quick review. I'm your host, Joel, and I got knocked out and dragged into a kitchen, but luckily I was saved by a figure who is somewhat Jesus-like, one might say.
Would one say that?
Yeah, the way they framed the shot was the way the shot was composition.
But I don't think Jesus ever came back to murder anyone.
Yeah, that's where the analogy falls apart. Who are you?
My name is Kat, and I definitely didn't withhold information about being business partners with the shady child murderer.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Oh, you know what? I could have just been, enjoying Faz Fest. Having, a Bonnie-shaped candy apple or something.
Who would you cosplay as if you were going to Faz Fest in costume?
Roxanne Wolf or Funtime Foxy. I'm not beating the allegations.
Not at all. I could see you as a Bonnie cosplayer. Because,
really?
The guitar. Yeah.
Oh, the guitar is super sweet. Yeah.
Specifically Toy Bonnie, because you're just a cute little guy.
I really like Ned Bear, too. He's such a small little side character, but he's cool.
Yes.
How about you?
Balloon Boy. No, I don't think so. Foxy, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Any iteration of Foxy.
Okay. So, this is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie, and you don't want spoilers, just come back later. Listen to this at a different time. I assume most people who are super fans saw it within the first 12 minutes of it releasing. But yes, we will be spoiling stuff from later in the movie. So my first question to you is, kind of in general, how are you feeling about this movie?
I loved this movie. I had a great time. Every time they did something that was obviously fan service, I went, I'm a fan! They're serving me! So, I'm exactly the target audience.
I mean, no disrespect when I say this. I am extrapolating from trends that I have seen on the internet. But if you are an autistic person whose special interest is Five Nights at Freddy's, this movie was made for you. Or if you are maybe, say, age 14 or younger, I think that this movie really resonates with you. I would say, on entirely a customer service satisfaction, right? How satisfied were you? Just completely dissatisfied, mostly satisfied. I would say neutral, leaning towards slightly positive. So I think I had I enjoyed myself less than you did with this movie.
There's something about the different flavors of autism, right? Because I have the type of autism where this and all of the Sonic movies vibrated in exactly the right zone in my brain. You watch CW's The Flash, unironically, and every day have updates about what's going on with that. So, different flavors of autism, but the same end result. Over-analyzing media that maybe isn't that deep.
Yeah, maybe.
I have to ask, do you think Five Nights at Freddy's versus Sonic the Hedgehog, which is more grabbing the autistic internet audience?
Sonic's been around for longer, and they have a really wide range of characters.
I think you get a lot of older fans watching Sonic, too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not that plugged into the internet communities, right? I'm not on Twitter or Instagram or any of these other places where I could see, thousands of people reacting to stuff. I get the impression that Sonic is the bigger one because it's been around longer.
You did take me to see both sets of movies. Which set of movies do you feel got me shaking in my seat, kicking my leggies more?
I think it was the Sonic movies. I can't remember.
One of my favorite parts about going to see this movie is that we took our nieces to see it, and they are exactly the age range that these movies are meant for, and they're also big horror movie fans. But they're very, sensitive to social modeling, so they saw me kicking my leggies when I got excited, and then they started doing it, and then they were in sync, so we're surrounding Joel doing this very distracting thing mid-movie. God
Absolutely.
Bless you, Joel.
Yeah, well, and, okay, so I'm the grumpy one of the two of us. That's just been known throughout all of our different episodes and media and stuff. But we had you and the nieces on either side of me, and then in front of us was a row of, I'd say maybe like 6 people who were cosplaying the right age group.
They were like 13 to 15
Yeah, they were the
old.
perfect demographic, right?
Yeah.
And the cheers for various things. Did they say that guy's name was Michael? Oh my gosh, Michael, he's from the games.
I will say, compared to the My Hero fans, they did a good job of being quiet during the actual movie, but we all just erupted into screaming when the movie ended.
See, I think that we just had one bad experience with that. I think we saw other My Hero movies and it was mostly...
I'm going to blame the My Hero fandom for that one bad experience for the rest of my life.
They should have known. They should have been able to police their own.
That woman should have been banned at the door.
All right, fantastic. Let's focus on the positives.
Let's do that.
Second.
Let's do that.
What? And I want an exhaustive list. But what would you say were the things that really worked for you for this movie?
The animatronics looked amazing. Michael was exactly as pathetic as he should be.
For anyone who hasn't seen the movie, Kat and I are going to try very hard to differentiate between Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton.
We could also call Mike Schmitty.
That's true. Josh Hutcherson is the actor's name.
I called him Josh
gonna...
the whole time. Like, that's just his name to me.
Anyway, so Michael was exactly what you wanted.
Michael was exactly as pathetic as I expected him to be. I already said the thing about the animatronics looking great, but they looked so great. I feel like this movie was scarier than the first one. Like, the atmosphere was really creepy, and they did a good job. There's something about puppets, man. That marionette is spooky as hell.
Yeah.
And the jokes were really good. Like, I was laughing the whole movie.
They had some pretty good ones in there. They absolutely did.
And for all of my complaints about Abby, which we'll get to later, they did a good job writing what a child that age would be like, especially with her, like, unique traumas and things she's got going on.
Absolutely.
So I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what riding home from this movie with my nieces is going to be like.
Okay. How loud did you cheer? I know you said the theater erupted into cheering, but how loud did you specifically cheer when they gave us the hint for the next movie?
Oh, I lost my mind. I
Yeah.
was so happy. I think that Game 3 is such a good, like, example of environmental storytelling. And just like, he's so creepy and he's coming back because he always comes back.
Yes.
Very
yes.
excited for that.
Yeah, do you have anything else?
I don't think so. What about you? What was your favorite thing or things that stood out to you?
Okay, so we haven't talked about it, but the puppet has the ability to, like, take over people's bodies. It's not just the animatronic. And that effect was very spooky for me. And I think they did a good job of showing her, like, sliding, like, around corners and stuff. Interesting that she only ever possessed female host, so you don't have to get confused about the pronouns. Charlotte is a girl, the puppet is a girl, and the 2 hosts that we see are girls, so you can always use she, her for whatever situation you're in. I think that was really creepy. Like you said, the look of the animatronics, I think the toys have, like, such a cool look, and I know people think that it's, like, not creepy enough. I'm not here for the creep factor. So yeah, I really like that. And the opening scene with Charlotte in the pizzeria, I think they did a really good job with that one. And then I really liked the dream sequence with Elizabeth.
Yes.
Hang on, that's Vanessa, who might or might not be the movie version of Elizabeth. Who knows? But no, I think they did an okay job with that. I really like that they showed her at different points in her life having different kind of reactions to things. Like, that's dream logic, baby.
And what did we see in the dream?
We saw baby.
We saw Circus baby! And she looked so good. And, like, maybe this was spoiled for people during production, but I had no idea that they had built a Circus baby. And I lost my mind a little bit. That was awesome. You know what else I liked?
Okay.
The characterization of Afton. So in my fanfic land that I live in, Afton is a man obsessed with himself. Right? And his own self-promotion. And as a self-obsessed, narcissist kind of man, his children are extensions of him rather than being, like, people that he cares about.
And I would say that is so far pretty much canon, confirmed at this point.
Right. But the fandom has really, like, written him as this man who was overcome by grief for his lost child. Crying child is often thought to be William Afton's child. And that's why he did all of the terrible things he did.
That was a hot take you just delivered mid-sentence right there.
Crying child is Henry's son. It's fine. or Edwin's son. But there's many different ways that discussion could go, and this is not about that. This is about the movie. But that's how the fandom has painted him, as this person who is overcome by the loss of a child and did all of these horrible things trying to get that child back.
Okay.
And that's not Afton to me. I think he would be annoyed if his child died, but I don't think it would, like, hurt him. But yeah, so like the way he talked to Vanessa in her dream sequence was really, really like reflective of, you're my property. I made you. I like that they didn't paint him as this like sympathetic character, but he's still like a fun, like campy villain.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I didn't catch this at the time, but the theory that William Afton's actions are driven purely by, like, love of his family is called will cares. And there was a line apparently in that dream sequence where he said, "I care" to Vanessa. And I think that he thinks he does, but he obviously isn't.
Yeah.
I hear that people who, like people who are rageaholics, like people who actually like lose their shit, I hear that usually they kind of downplay their own anger and they're like, I'm not that bad. So I think William is that. He's like, yeah, I stabbed my adult daughter, but like I just needed her to get in line. It was just a little stabbing.
Well, and like I would compare him to Doflamingo, right? Because that's another charismatic villain who talks a lot about how he loves his family but is willing to let them die for him. The difference between the two of them as characters is I believe that Doffy loves his family, but his version of love includes sacrifice for him.
If necessary.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I don't believe that Afton has the capacity for love. I think he has the capacity for obsession and possession.
Yeah, jealousy, rage sometimes, that kind of a thing.
Yes, which is, you know, why his dynamic with Henry is so fun to explore in a fanfic space, because, like, he was so obsessed with Henry that he, like, did all of this other stuff. I'm not going to get into my fan fiction right now. I'm going to focus on the movie. But yes, that was something I really loved, was I thought they did a great job with his portrayal.
We're not really going point by point through different parts of the movie, but I do kind of want to do that. But before we get into that, what would you say are generally places where you think that the movie could use some improvements or maybe fell flat?
I'm going to hurt myself when I say this.
Yeah.
The writing is just not good. But that is true to the source material.
Oh, you know what? Before we get into the negatives, before we get into the things that, you know, could use improvement, I also... It was very dumb, but I really liked when they tried to remake FNAF 2, and I really liked that Balloon Boy was an annoying little shit, and I loved that he was like, this mask shouldn't work. It shouldn't, but it does for some reason. Or when he's like, why is there no door? All of that worked great. I was really upset when he didn't use the flashlight on Foxy, because in the games, it's the only animatronic it works on.
Came so close.
It was the last animatronic to attack him, and it was right there. Like, come on, man. Anyways.
Yeah, he even could have picked up the flashlight as a weapon, and, like, it turns on as he hits Foxy with it.
Oh, yeah, kind of accidentally. Anyways.
Yes. I do think that they heard the negative feedback from the first movie, that there wasn't enough FNAF in FNAF, and so they made sure you got some classic FNAF.
Yes.
Because why, Joel? Because if you have a chance to do classic FNAF, you do classic FNAF. If the movie gets it, Steel fucking Wool can get it.
Please see our quick review on Secret of the Mimic for the origin of that particular phrase.
The deep cut cat lore.
Okay, so the writing was really bad. Is there anything else, like, outside of the writing?
Outside
Or do you think the writing was the sole, like,
I mean,
sin?
like, I don't know what there is outside of writing.
Yeah,
Because characterization is also writing.
Okay, so do you want to be more specific? Like, what about the writing?
I don't think that the motivations completely made sense. I think there are things they could have done to make it tighter. I think there were a lot of elements they put in this movie, and they didn't work particularly hard to make them fit smoothly with one another.
Okay.
We'll get to that in our script doctoring session later. And like, the way people talk when they're not main characters, when they're like, you know, throwaway person to get murdered.
Yeah.
People don't talk that way.
People don't talk
like
that way.
I bought the robotics teacher being mean to Abby because I've worked in schools.
She's autistic,
and
kinda,
like teachers do tend to be dismissive and belittling to neurodivergent children. if you're a teacher, don't come at me in the comments. That's me painting with a very broad brush over my own professional experience.
But there are times when a teacher might act in an inappropriate way, or like in an overly like, you know that you're not actually going to get this test done, right?
Exactly, right. Very patronizing. But all of his other actions were just so beyond the pale for me. And I felt like a lot of the non-main characters were like that. I think the only person whose actions like really made sense were Abby and maybe Mike.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say I don't think that... I think they wrote this movie like Scott writes FNAF games. And when you're playing a game, and you're playing it for the gameplay, or you're playing it for the lore, you don't need character motivations. You don't need coherency. You can say like, oh, there's nightmare gas. Oh, it's partially a dream. Or, oh, the person was so scared they were hallucinating or whatever. But when you make a movie that has character arcs, you need more. I'm positive that however many movies they make 3, they stop at 3, they make 4, they make 20, they make 100, they will never explore William Afton's backstory. They will never say, here's why he started killing. It's just going to be like oh yeah, one day he woke up and he decided to start killing people. Why children? I don't know. Why at Freddy Fazbear's? I don't know. Like, they're just going to wave all of that away. And personally, I think that's a missed opportunity, because in games you don't need motivations for that kind of stuff if it's just going to be like a character in the background, a villain that you never really confront directly. But once you have a movie and he's on screen saying things, have him say things.
At the same time, I feel like a lot of that characterization can be background. Like, his whole thing is that he's an entertainer, right? So all it would have taken for him to start murdering folks is that one didn't laugh at my joke.
Then put a scene of someone not laughing as like.
Oh,
listen,
and him losing it. Yeah. I'm agreeing with you,
Okay.
basically, right? I'm saying
Sorry.
that you don't have to make it explicit, but you do have to have some
have it
sort
in
of
there, right? And I'm almost positive that either Scott doesn't want to characterize them any one particular way, or in Scott's mind, it's scarier if you don't know why he's doing it. And I guess that's fine, except they go to such lengths to have him seem like a semi-reasonable human. Like, he has a job and he builds these animatronics, and he's so focused on this job, but why is he so... Anyways.
Yeah, you think about classic horror villains, right? Why did any of them do the things they do? Most of them had very hand-wavy reasons.
At the same time, you still know that, like, Jason was drowned in a lake or something, I think, and Freddy Krueger was set on fire. Like, there's still reasons, even if they're lame ones. We don't get any of that in these movies. Here's something really annoying. It's right here. It's in front of the crowd. So at the beginning of the movie, Charlotte goes to save a kid who we'll get into it in a second, but basically you, without realizing it, thought that was Michael Afton at the time when we first saw that scene. But a kid gets taken. Abby tells Charlotte tells a bunch of people, like, hey, a kid's being hurt, and no one listens to them. And then she goes into the back and she rescues the kid, and she's being chased by the yellow rabbit, and she emerges on stage. Everyone in the building turns and looks at her. She falls, and she has 3 stab wounds, like clearly stab wounds in her back. And everyone screams, so they saw it. They didn't see something else. And then it gets ruled an accident. And I understand that William owns the company, but like, that doesn't make any sense.
You know what else
if she went in after hours and like he stabbed her then and her body was found the next morning, but they didn't know that the animatronic was active or something, they could have said, she snuck in and then she got into the machinery or something. What were you going to say?
I was just thinking that it was... There are places you could take that idea. You just went, going back to what I was going to say, you are a serial killer.
Am I?
Somebody has caught you in this hypothetical.
Okay, yeah.
You're a serial killer. Mm-hmm. Somebody has walked in on you about to kill a child and has taken the child that you're going to kidnap. Mm-hmm. So you're chasing them with a knife as they approach the exit. You manage to stab them 3 times. Why would you let them walk through the exit rather than grabbing the small child's arm or knocking them down or something?
Here's I think it's kind of supposed to be a reveal that she got stabbed, because at first it looks like she escaped, but then you see her fall to her knees and you go, oh no. But I I have a little theory. I don't have a theory. Someone else came up with this theory, and they never explicitly stated it in the movie, but there's an idea that potentially what William is doing is trying to sabotage Freddy Fazbear's because it's partially Henry's business. And so he probably wanted maybe to make a scene. He wanted A, the place to be shut down, and B, to not get caught. So long as Charlie was already fatally wounded and was going to emerge on stage, he can stay behind, protect his identity, and cause it to shut down.
Okay, hear me out.
Yeah.
William
Yeah.
made Circus Baby. We saw in the dream sequence he had her in the closet.
Yeah.
And Henry went...
Was it which closet was it? If you had to number, I'm kidding.
Maybe the third?
Okay, yeah.
Possibly the fifth? Okay. He made Circus Baby. And Henry went, no way am I putting that creepy-ass clown in our restaurant. What's wrong with you? Why would you make that? Off. And William went, you can't tell me my ideas are bad. I'm going to do some murders in your restaurant.
Yes.
And that's what got the original Freddy's closed.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that.
But then why didn't he ever put Circus Baby in the franchise location? It doesn't matter.
I want more. I want more story in these stories.
This is what I mean. Like, the writing is just not good. It was mostly an excuse to put cool game moments on screen.
I was going to mention this at the top of the episode. I think you can grade this movie on two different metrics. You can grade it on, does it reference the games? You can go, that's Charlotte. That's the puppet. That's Circus Baby. That's the Wizards. If you're grading it by that rubric, 11 out of 10, perfect movie. Because it has things from the games. If you rate it as a movie, as someone who's not if you weren't a FNAF enjoyer and you didn't know the story, you just knew that this guy almost lost his sister in the last movie and how's he acting in this movie, I don't think it holds up. And that's my main point I'm trying to make. Thing number two that I don't particularly like, the character motivations. Like you said, it's a little muddled. I'm going to be a little more specific because you said that you weren't sure you agreed with them. At the end, and I've heard some of T. Dreads' stream reviewing this movie, and he was he had some criticisms as well, so some of this is sort of influenced by him. But, like, Josh Hutcherson is, like, so distrusting of Vanessa in this movie over, like, kind of small things.
She didn't even do anything.
Right, exactly. And so we'll talk about in script doctoring, but like he kind of goes through this like, I trust you, I don't trust you, I trust you, I don't trust you. I think it should have been consistent. Either he's still mad at her for finding out that she was the daughter and she lied to him in the last movie, or he does trust her and then there has to be a really big reveal that makes him decide that he doesn't. Vanessa, they don't really conclude her story arc with her dad. There's two possibilities. One, I'm doing a lot of numbering in this episode, but number one is she immediately got over her problem the moment that she did a dream theory. That was what T. Dreads thought, was that Josh Hutcherson said, go into your dream. I know you're a PTS abuse survivor, but if you just like go into a place where you will feel that abuse again, you'll be fine. You'll just get over it. So that's option number one. Option number two is they're trying to set up like a 2-movie arc where this movie she's confronted by the shadows of her past and the next movie she'll overcome them, but that leaves it feeling very incomplete in this movie. I don't like the science fair aspect of this movie. It's like 30 goddamn minutes and it's completely irrelevant. Get rid of that. We're doing a script doctoring session. I'm getting rid of that section. It's so stupid. Number 4, don't have the f***ing withered animatronics in this movie. Okay. 2 possibilities. I love numbers. Possibility 1, you take the original animatronics from the first movie and you have them be used for parts by maybe Michael Afton or something. He's taking the parts out and now they look worse because they're withered. Or 2, you have no wizards in this game and nobody will care or notice because you're focusing on the toy animatronics.
Do you remember that there was an argument about what year FNAF 3 took place in?
Yes.
This movie has now helpfully told us that 2003 is the right answer.
Because was that only 1 year later that they went in and rated everything?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, but I don't think the movies are so not canon to the games. Charlotte, I get the children mixed up all the time. Charlotte died in front of people, and so therefore it is already not canon to the games.
Welcome to the Cope and Seed section of the podcast. Yes, so as a self-pronounced Charlie 87 truther, watching her get murdered in 1982 was upsetting to me personally, but as Joel said, it's not canon, so it's fine. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get to the end of 3, and this is going to be all somebody's dream, and that will set them up for doing a soft reboot.
Could you imagine the absolute, and I don't usually use this language on the podcast, but the absolute fucking balls Scott Cawthon would have to get ridiculed for Dream Theory, go on to make fun of it himself, and then to implement it.
They keep bringing up how important dreams are.
Yeah.
Like,
I think, yeah.
And I know initially that was like a haha dream theory, but like, I think that's starting to be like a for real thing. Also, they like making money and these movies make them money. So what's the easiest way to keep making lots of money? Make it all a dream so you can make more movies. So I fully expect that to be the case, and I think the whole theater will erupt. I think there will be riots. I think somebody will throw a Molotov cocktail at the theater screen. It might be me. Don't check my pockets when we go to see that movie.
You can fit a whole Molotov cocktail in there? I thought ladies had, like, really small pockets.
I may be wearing your pants to that screen.
Giant flowing clown pants. Who knows what's in there? The pants of mystery.
I could also like tuck it into my waistband.
That's true.
Wear a big sweater.
While it's on fire? No, you'd have to. Yeah.
But yeah, so I know people go back and forth about like, are the games canon? Are the books canon? Are the movies canon?
Are the games canon? What do you mean?
Scott
the games
Cawthon,
are the ultimate canon.
Yeah, but which games are canon? Are they all canon? Are they all canon to the same timeline?
I see.
Scott doesn't know what the word canon means.
No,
so
he doesn't.
They are all canon to themselves. I don't think you can reasonably use pieces from one media to solve puzzles in other pieces of media.
Yeah, except where you can.
I think that those line up coincidentally, not because they're a solution.
Fair enough. Absolutely.
I think Scott has the vague shape of a story in his head, and it's mostly the names William Afton and Henry Emily bouncing around. You know what was cool about this movie? Not to get distracted. This movie confirmed that there was only one incident, which I have been saying for years. I don't know why people thought there were 12, 15 million victims when there were clearly only 6. But this movie was like, yes, the marionette died, and then she could control the other animatronics that were in her pizzeria. So any activities of the FNAF 2 animatronics were marionette-driven, not other ghosts. Internet. You can bleep that.
Counterpoint.
Don't you dare.
You just said that you can't use one piece of media to fix to solve another. Hang on. I actually have I have a couple of points here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Number 2, they didn't want to introduce more ghost kids in this movie because there were already too many characters. Like, if they introduced 5 more that were controlling the Wizards, it would get unwieldy. And then, number 3, if the puppet can remotely control these animatronics in this movie, which it can, we saw that, it seems to be that she can only do it when she's out of the box. And in FNAF 2's gameplay, the animatronics could be active even when she was in the box. So pretty hard confirmed that in the movie universe, there's no DCI. There could be one in the games, but at the same time, we never see any in Gravestone. So I agree with you that there were only 8 murdered children if you count Elizabeth and Crying Child. But
this is my Cope and Seed.
This is your Cope and Seed, yes, of course.
But I will say, in the games, they had another explanation. The animatronics had special software, and they were moving to keep their servos from locking up. So, you know what did line up? And again, I think coincidences across books, movies, and games are coincidences. I don't think that you can use the one thing to solve another thing. But in the week before, they talked about how the animatronics couldn't leave the pizzeria because their batteries would die down.
Right.
And they put that in the movie as well. So that was a nice little nod.
Okay. We're in the section where I'm talking about things that fell flat or frustrated me personally. In the books, I think it's Coming Home. It's a story about Susie going back to her home, like where she lived when she was still alive. They basically confirm that the ghosts are only active from midnight till 6 a.m. That's why the game ends at 6 a.m. They could literally be outside your door, but the ghost just goes away at 6 a.m. And I understand that they need to work around that for this movie, but I was so mad when Toy Chica was moving around during the day, because I was like, that's not how... And I mean, technically, Toy Chica is being remote controlled, but being remote controlled by a spirit that should not have had any power at that particular time. I would have loved, and I mean, this is too silly even for Scott to do, but I would have loved... We haven't described the scene. It doesn't matter. Michael Afton is the one who gets Charlie out of the box. Charlotte out of the box. His actions caused Charlotte to get out of the box. He did that on purpose. That's his plan, his keikaku. And
I'm just saying he didn't use his hands to do it.
No. He put the gears in motion. But I would have loved if he was running from this ghost puppet or whatever, and I would have loved if she had been like reaching towards him, and then she just stops and he looks at the clock and it's 6 a.m. and he just barely was able to escape. I would love that.
That would have been fantastic. Yes.
All right. Is there? Let's see. Let's talk about the general plot beats. So we have.
I pulled up a synopsis. If that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to go beat by beat. I'm just trying to see, like, is there anything you want to say about this section or that section or these sections? How did I get it. It was a cool horror scene. It reminded me of Jurassic Park. But what did the mini puppets do to the guy in the... Did they eat him? Did they bite him? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just kind of went, and there was blood everywhere, and I get that he was swarmed, but I didn't know what they were doing to him. Did they all have tiny knives? That would be a very amusing thing to see. Yes.
Also, what's Balloon Boy's deal? Is he aggressive? Is he just there?
No, he was aggressive because remember he was chasing Josh Hutcherson in the river.
I know, but like... So when they did FNAF 2, in the FNAF 2 movie, at one point Balloon Boy shows up in the office and his face lights up and he just starts screaming, which was really interesting to me because who's that guy we like who's doing his own version of FNAF?
Oh, you're thinking of The Unwithered Truth.
That was his mechanic for Balloon Boy, and he very specifically said, like, I think that he needs something other than just stealing your batteries. And like... Did you consult on the movie?
That would be awesome. I don't think so. I think the movie writers had the same problem where they said we need him to do something, and in the games he wasn't a direct attack unit, so he's got to do something else. He's also annoying, and the screeching on the headphone or on the microphones is really annoying. I did not like the puppet jump scare, where she was inside Toy Chica and Toy Chica started cracking open like an egg. They played the actual sound from the game and they had the actual jump scare from the game, basically.
That's what that was.
It was too f***ing loud. And I get it, horror's supposed to make you uncomfortable, but that is the kind of thing that makes me not want to watch your movie again. I go, why did you do that?
Yep, you heard it here first, folks. Guy who has totally normal sensory things does not want to see a movie that is too loud. Can't be too loud, can't be too quiet or he won't hear it, can't be too dark because he can't see stuff, can't have too many bright flashing colors because that is upsetting. He's completely normal.
Absolutely. Have been since the day I've been born. Just ask my mom. All right. Let's see. Any other... What did you think of the reveal of Michael Afton having been behind it this whole time?
Yeah. They tried to do too much in this movie. You can't have two villains and one of them be a twist villain. We'll get to this in my script doctoring, but I have a better use for Michael Afton. Okay. I do love him being William's least favorite child because that also seems to be canon.
Game. Yeah.
And I love that he is desperately seeking Daddy's approval even though Daddy is dead. Yeah. Two different kinds of abused children.
Response to, yeah. Do you think that, I guess we're in a general concepts section of the episode. Do you think that there is a CC in this universe?
No.
Okay.
We saw a picture in the dream sequence of William and Vanessa is dragging a boy on screen, which I assume is Michael.
Right.
I feel like they would have put pictures of a third child if there was one.
Counterpoint, they haven't written any of the future movies. I'm almost positive that they write these episodes like movie by movie. And so they don't know what the crying child's going to look like. They didn't want to include it in case they didn't have time to put him in later things. And also that dream sequence could have been after he was already dead and William Afton smashed all the pictures or something.
If the villain for the next movie is a character that shows up and then goes, surprise, it's me, crying child. No. Molotov cocktail.
No. Hang on. I've figured out the pattern. Okay? First movie ends with Vanessa, with William Afton being like, surprise, I'm Vanessa's dad. Didn't she tell you? And then the next movie ends with the creepy security guard saying, hi, I'm secretly Vanessa's brother. Didn't she tell you? So the third movie is going to end with her uncle, her grandpa, or her son. It's going to be another male relative of her family that she has never mentioned, but is secretly evil this whole time.
Amazing.
Okay.
Wait, before we escape the cope and seethe section.
Sure.
You pointed this out, and I think you got this from a YouTuber. We all noticed in the picture of the original pizzeria, William standing there with Vanessa and Vanessa holding Garrett's toy plane.
Yes.
One of two explanations. Explanation number one is that those were prizes at Freddy's and Garrett became a target for William because he went to Freddy's at some point. But like, I don't know why he would chase Garrett off set specifically, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is that Garrett was first.
Yeah. Which would make him crying child, by the way, possibly.
I bet he cried.
He probably cried a lot.
I would cry if somebody was murdering me.
Oh my god, movie Afton did fear gas experiments. If they have the goddamn balls to make the fear gas a real thing in the movies, I will throw a Molotov cocktail. Sorry. Okay, so first off, the possibilities that Garrett, or those are the two.
Those are the two possibilities. I'm leaning toward the second one, because we only ever see the one toy plane, and when Vanessa sets up her little shrine to the victims to go into the dream realm, the plane is one of the things she brings out. So it's clearly meaningful, but again, why? Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
Maybe that child's mom was his ex-wife, and he was mad that she married somebody else and had more kids, which would make Mike Schmidt potentially his biological son.
Possibly. I mean, people were speculating about that, and then now we have a Mike and a Michael, and why did you do that? Why?
To make you poop your pants about it, man.
You don't need a Michael Afton. Change his name to Evan Afton, and then people could lose their goddamn minds about that. Okay, next question. In the dream sequence, we already talked about it, Vanessa goes into a closet, Circus Baby is there, turns and looks at her. What do you think that means, kind of in general?
I think that maybe that was a threat that William held over Vanessa's head. Help me lure these children,
or the baby gets you.
I will feed you to this thing.
Okay. The way there was a couple of different possibilities, and some of them I didn't even consider until I heard, again, T-Dreads and a couple of other YouTubers talked about it. I know Fazbear Entertainment was on there, and Caitlin Cotto was on there. But they brought up the possibility that Vanessa actually died, and that was like, look what actually happened to you. You're in Circus Baby, and the Vanessa we think we know is actually a robot the whole time. I don't know if robots can dream.
She went to the hospital.
I don't know. Sound illusion discs or something, right? But that's a possibility that she died, and that's like actually her grave. The other possibility, there's multiple. Another possibility is that she had a sister, and the sister was Elizabeth. Elizabeth and Vanessa, different characters. Elizabeth did die and was in Circus Baby. And then the way that I took it when I was watching the movie, before I heard anyone else's thoughts on it, was that she went in there and Circus Baby turned on and turned towards her, because what does Circus Baby do in the games when there's only one child around? So it's similar to what you were saying about it being a threat, except I don't think that William threatened her with it. I think he had a secret project and she almost got herself gotten, and that's why he pulled her out of the closet.
Oh, I really like that. Yeah.
So we will see what's happening with that. I have another general question for you.
General question?
Do you think they know what they're going to do in the next movie? Or do you think they just ended this movie on like a whoa?
Yes. Yes.
Possibly.
Maybe. I think they know what they're doing. I think they're going to do a combo of FNAF 3 and Pizzeria Simulator.
Okay. Okay, yeah, maybe.
Because of the sting at the end post-credit scene of Henry being tape guy, I think maybe he's, like, prepared a plan, and he was trying to warn Mike about the puppet and maybe tell him, like, this is how you can deal with her.
Yeah.
But he got by something.
I mean, he got by the puppet. I'm almost positive that's what they were trying to imply. How many Molotov cocktails will you throw if it turns out that Henry is alive and that was a fake out?
1.5.
Okay, yeah.
Henry was so useless in this movie. Like, there was no point or purpose to him being there.
Yeah, he was there so you could point and be like, oh my god, it's that guy.
Exactly. And I'm already not a Henry supporter. So for him to be as useless as he was in the movie was like, okay, buddy, we get it. You do nothing. You are the Princess Celestia of Five Nights at Freddy's.
She made the sunrise every morning, I think. Possibly.
It's amazing that you remember anything about My Little Pony at all. I'm so impressed.
Friendship is magic.
Side note, King of the What Now lore for all y'all out there. Joel started watching My Little Pony when we were in college because he got lonely when my friends and I would talk about it and he couldn't participate in the conversations, which I think is adorable.
What's going on with Vanessa being taken over by the puppet at the end? Is she going to be a villain throughout the next movie? Is the movie going to be her fighting William Afton and then Josh Hutcherson is just there?
I'm confused. Honestly, I'm very confused because the puppet just wanted to kill everybody, right?
Wanted to kill
all the adults.
I interpreted it as killing all the adults that were at the place where she died, but other people, T-Dread specifically, pointed out that she might just be killing anyone who's older than a certain age.
Yeah, she wants to kill all the grown-ups. She takes over Vanessa. Why is the first person she goes after Henry? Why wouldn't that have been the first person she went after in the first place? And why doesn't she go back to killing any of the other people? Like, maybe she does. Maybe that'll happen off screen. But, like, why isn't the puppet just going on a murder rampage post this movie?
Yes. Well, we know from this movie that the puppet is willing to use some people as leverage or demand things from people. What if she didn't kill Henry? What if she kidnapped him and she's going to make him do something? And so in the next movie, Josh Hutcherson will run into him and he's like, Henry, what are you doing here? She made me build the anti-monitor wave. It'll destroy all of the universes, Marty. It's gonna happen.
Maybe because all of the toy animatronics were destroyed, maybe she wants into the sister location bunker so she can have more animatronics to control.
Oh, okay. We got to keep her out of the mainframe because otherwise she'll be able to. Okay, yeah, I really like that.
I think they had Vanessa get possessed at the end of the movie because it's spooky. I don't know how they're going to square the things. And I mean, the answer is probably that they're not, right? Like, they don't seem to mind hand-waving stuff like that off.
Yes.
But
okay. This is a 10 Molotov cocktail situation. If the next movie starts and Vanessa is no longer possessed and it never comes up again, 10 Molotov cocktails.
Absolutely.
And that would feel very in line with, oh no, it's not Edwin. Ennard. And Ennard just disappeared between two games, so maybe they'll just disappear, Charlie.
What if Henry got attacked by Charlotte Vanessa?
Yeah. Vanessa.
But the sounds of the struggle we heard, he had Lefty prepared, and he traps the puppet's soul in Lefty.
Oh my god, they could use Lefty as its plot device in the next movie. That's actually brilliant. I really like that.
That would also explain to me personally why the puppet just didn't resume murdering.
Yes, that's true.
Something that I had to think about, I didn't get just watching the movie, but the puppet had control over the animatronics. Josh turned off the signal. And then they came back on, and then Michael showed up, and he was like, I'm going to continue my father's legacy. We're going to kill them all at Fall Fest.
And he gives commands to the toys. He can make them obey him.
He took over the signal after Charlotte's signal was interrupted, is what happened with them specifically.
Yes.
I can't remember. Did he actually even see the marionette? Did he seem spooked by her at all, or did he run away when the originals showed up? Oh, she was trapped. That's right. The music box was playing when he walked in.
When he first showed up, yeah, she was unconscious. But he was terrified of her when she possessed the body of the person. I actually really like the way that Michael Afton did this. He never directly got his hands dirty, but he managed to, like, put things in the right place so that they would happen.
Super funny that he didn't know the code.
Yes, right? That's super weird.
Well, he's not the favorite child. Why would he know anything?
That's a really good point. The thing I was thinking is that maybe the code is something that Vanessa put in herself. Like, after she grew up a little bit, maybe Michael left or something, and then she took over and she had the code. Doesn't seem like the case, but yeah, why doesn't he have the code?
Where were the original animatronics?
They're at the...
For most of the movie?
They were just at the location. You need someone to ask them to help, and they need to be above a certain age, otherwise they won't listen. I don't know, right?
Abby wanted to go see them,
Yeah.
and Josh was like, nah, bro, they're broken, but I'll fix them eventually. And at one point, Vanessa's like, you gotta stop lying to her. You have to tell them the truth.
Right.
And then Abby eventually goes, and they're gone. They're not on their stage. And she's like,
3 of them are on their stage. Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie. Aren't they there?
no, the stage was empty.
Oh. Yeah.
So they're gone. And she's like, where are they? And he's like, I don't know. Parts of them are probably here and there. So I was like, oh, maybe Michael took them apart and used their parts to repair the toy animatronics.
Yeah. Which is,
that
heavily
could be
implied to be in the games. And oh, no, it's explicitly stated, the retrofitting, yeah.
Right. That could be something interesting. But no, they were just hiding, I guess. They just didn't want to talk to them.
Again, not to just, like, take someone else's content, but T-Dreads pointed out that he thought that at one point they were going to do one story, like the one you just outlined, and then they changed it, but they never got rid of the first scene where it happened. I think what should have happened, and I must have taken some stupid gas. I needed to mention that in a second. But I thought that 3 of them were on stage and that Foxy was mysteriously missing. I was like, why is Foxy missing? That doesn't make any sense. But I think what should have happened is Abby should have gone and they were there. The animatronics were still there, still physically the same that they were, but they never turn on.
Just empty.
Like when she calls to the spirits, nothing happens. And then at the end, when Josh Hutcherson shows up and he's like, please help, they use the last 1% of their ghost juice to save the day, and that's why they shut down. And then Golden Freddy's like, I'm sorry, I can't hold him back anymore. I was a useless character in this movie. Goodbye.
We gotta go to heaven now. Quick aside.
All ghosts go to heaven.
And I know that's objectively not true.
What do you mean objectively?
Listen, buddy,
what object are you
I was
using?
raised Catholic, which is like the heaven or hell church.
Okay. Yeah,
and
it's
I
the
can
most
tell
strict
you
about who gets in and who gets out.
Yes.
You go up to heaven and William Afton is there. What the hell are you doing? I repented. No, you didn't.
I did.
You're killing that soul of that child right now.
All
He's
ghosts
going
go
to
to
double heaven. Sorry.
You can't use the movies to solve the games. We've already discussed that. However, Golden Freddy, who probably has a name, but he's Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy...
What do you mean, the kid has a name?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It changes depending on which series you're in.
We're talking about the movie.
Right.
Golden Freddy clearly is like, we have to move on. Don't know why, but they do. They have to move on now, I guess. Maybe once William Afton was dead and they knew the truth, it was harder to, like, stay possessing something because their business was finished. That's typical ghost lore. But he looks at the camera and he says, I can't hold him back anymore. Once we pass on, he will be free.
And stronger.
Which to me implies that, yes, Golden Freddy was the one you should not have killed who was keeping William trapped in purgatory.
Yeah, that completely lines up with how I understand it.
And I will say, Golden Freddy is a little blonde boy, and Vanessa's blonde, so maybe that is Crying Child.
Could be. Yeah.
But why is Michael the only brunette? Maybe that's why his dad hates him. So he's the only one who doesn't look like their mom. I don't believe he ever loved a woman, though.
Have you ever noticed that neither movie has ever mentioned a mom? We have 2 sets of children that are very important, but just dads.
Scott hates moms.
Apparently.
That's canon to the games, too.
Yeah, it is. It is. I feel like they should have changed some things when they made the movies. You don't have to tell us anything about Mrs. Afton, but you could have a picture of her. You could have Vanessa mention, like, I lost my mom when I was young. You don't even have to imply anything. We could be wondering, did William kill her? Did she leave?
I just had a brain blast.
Okay.
And this is more fanficking than it is reality.
William Afton and Jackie produced a child, and that's Vanessa. Is that kind of where you're going with your thoughts? Molotov cocktail straight up the gunch.
You're a mean one, Mr. Gunch. Okay. The little blonde boy who is possessing Golden Freddy is about the age Vanessa was in the pictures of her holding the plane.
Probably, I'd say so, yeah.
So, twin theory, right? Because we already know that that this series has done twin stuff before.
Okay.
Or he was Afton's assistant. That was his first son. And he was his murder assistant, like Vanessa eventually is. He decided he didn't want to do murders anymore, didn't like it. And so Afton killed him because we saw him stab Vanessa when she was like, I'm not going to help you with this shit.
Right.
And then Afton was like, if you don't want to end up like your brother, you're helping me now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would also explain why there were no pictures of him in the house, because he was dead to the family.
Well, I absolutely think if Crying Child is alive, they will put him earlier in the timeline. Maybe Vanessa and Michael wouldn't even know about Crying Child.
That's why I had him as a older sibling. But given the age and everything, like, I would not be at all surprised if that was Vanessa's twin that she didn't talk about because she's too tortured.
Yeah, the secret family member that will show up at the end of the next movie. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're cracking this case wide open.
So what you asked me is, do they have a plan for the movie 3? And I gave my answer. What do you think?
No, I don't. I think that they're making this up one movie at a time. I think that Scott has a lore Bible, but it is a single page that says things like, it's sad when children die. William Afton does murders. Henry is wants to help but ineffective. Michael is a theater kid. Like, Jesus Christ, Michael. Like, he doesn't even try to like pretend to not be a sociopath in like the 2 scenes that he's in. And I think that they're roughly basing it off of the game, so they know that Springtrap, will be in the next game. But they're also changing the formula because the puppet was around. You could see her on one of the camera feeds, but as far as we know, she didn't do anything. And so it's weird for her to show up and be a threat in the next movie. You
know, it was a cool point at the screen and go, oh, moment when Shadow Bonnie was
I missed it.
You were looking at me when it happened, and I was like, it's him! And you looked and he was gone.
That's how it works in the games, yeah.
So I guess we're going to have to watch this movie 50 more times. Sorry.
Speaking of the third movie. Oh, my stupid gas theory. This is such a small thing, but when people learn the story of Five Nights at Freddy's, there's always this part where someone goes, wait, hang on, what do you mean? And that is when it turns out that William Afton hid the dead bodies inside of the animatronic suits, and there was a police investigation and the bodies were never found. And I've heard some people explaining it as the bodies were initially in the animatronics, but then removed before the investigation began, which is why they wouldn't find the bodies. I still think that there'd be blood in there or something. Hang on.
I need to say something about that in a minute.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
So everyone always says, why didn't the police catch it, or the police inept? But if you pay attention to the plot lines throughout all of these movies, in game 2 or game 1, one of them, Phone Guy, implies that like most people die within starting their shift in like a day or 2. So if the place has been open for, let's say, 2 weeks, that's like 8 dead people. Like, how do people not catch this? I have a solution.
Oh, I'm ready.
Stupid gas theory. We know fear gas, it makes you hallucinate, makes you see things. It's scarecrow gas. We all know what that is. But I also think that there's a stupid gas that diminishes people's ability to think. And I think that the atmosphere of Earth in the FNAF universe is 90% stupid gas.
Can I take this into kind of a dark direction?
Sure.
So we live about 45 minutes away from an old silver mine.
Yeah.
And when that mine was active, something about the way they were mining put a lot of lead in the water. Mm-hmm. So people who have lived in this area for a long time, they'll talk about, like, there's some strange people over the hill. That's what they mean. We know from Into the Pit that there was some sort of factory in the same town as Freddy's. So I think that pollutants damage the minds of everybody who lives there.
It's dairy rules, right? It's influence on the town was so powerful that eventually the parents start to like be unable to like even process that this thing is happening. And I get it, but at the same time, it's one of those things where like the original game was 5 people died. 5 children died, and they all died in like one incident. And then like other night guards are dying because like that's just funny that corporations don't care if you die. But like the longer the series goes on, the more I'm like, no, you need an explanation as to how this business keeps opening up and people do not know.
Right. Well, and like I've heard people mention, they'd bring in like corpse detection dogs, right? And the dogs might alert to the suits, but they wouldn't ever find the bodies. And so maybe that's why nobody was arrested. There are multiple cases. One of my dog research idols is actually writing a book about this right now. But the dog alerted to something, the corpse detection dog, alerted to something in a house or in a car. No body was ever recovered. And the person went to jail. Some of these people have been in jail for like 20 years. Some of them since...
Like, despite evidence. Like, or yeah, okay.
Some of them since have found evidence that it was somebody else, and they still are in jail because the dog evidence is considered too strong. And she basically breaks down in this book she's publishing, these are all the best practices for using a detection dog, and none of those were followed in this case. But like... Absolutely. If a dog was like, there was a body here, somebody would have gotten arrested. So even that explanation that the bodies just weren't there doesn't work in a realistic environment. So it has to be the stupid gas. Also, if you have any sort of rage about miscarriages of justice, there are lots of resources you can Google to get involved in fighting those.
Absolutely. This wasn't on the original outline, and hopefully we can be kind of brief, but I have 2 questions that are similar, but not exactly the same.
There's a lot of 2s coming up in this. Is 2 a.m. theory, like, taking over you?
It's the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie, so the next, when the third movie comes out, we'll have a list of 3 things. Firstly, what do you think they will do when they eventually get around to planning FNAF 3? And what do you think they should do when they get around to FNAF 3?
Well, I already said, I think they're going to do a combination of Pizzeria Simulator and...
So what would that look like? Would that look like Josh Hutcherson trying to lure Springtrap into a giant oven, basically?
Yeah, I think that he's trying to lure Springtrap into the center of this new attraction, and Henry has been like, this is the best way to burn the animatronics. And then maybe he'll be trapped in there.
Okay, yeah.
As for you, my friend. So that's something I expect. I really have no idea how they're going to resolve the puppet. I think that the most likely explanation right now is that Henry trapped her inside of Lefty. So maybe he'll be like, here you go, Josh. This is Lefty. You can use him to help defend you while you're working to burn Springtrap to death.
Okay, yeah. And then what do you think
Michael, what's Michael?
What do you think they should do? Like, do you think that this third one should be the end of the series? And do you think everyone should get a happy ending? Do you think William Afton should be killed for real?
No happy endings.
Okay.
Because it's a horror movie. I mean, there are happy endings in horror movies, but I'm a no happy endings kind of person. William Afton always comes back. So there has to be like some sort of glimmer of like, but what if? But I think this should be the end of this trilogy. I really do think that they're going to do the Dream Theory soft reboot that I suggested.
Yeah.
And then I think the next series of movies will be about like Circus Baby and all of that. But if I had to like give you a plot outline for 3 right now, I couldn't do it because that requires me to script doctor 1 and 2 for you.
That's true. Okay, so here's, according to what you're saying about like there's a glimmer of hope that he comes back, he walks into a Looney Tunes style trap where he stands on an X on the ground and he gets smashed by a piano, and then like 16 more pianos like smash down on top of him, and there's just like there's nothing left. Just like blood is leaking out from underneath the pianos. And they're like, it's finally over. There's no way he can come back from this. And then they turn and they go, let's get ice cream. And they all walk off. But then you see one teeny tiny mini arena sized animatronic and its eyes glow and it starts to wiggle a little bit.
Plush trap.
Yeah, there you go.
He possesses plush trap.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite things in like the fan lore, not the game lore, is that Scott hates all those little names we've come up with for the animatronics.
Oh, yeah.
Like he only calls Golden Freddy the Yellow Bear.
Huh.
But it's Golden Freddy. We've all decided it's Golden Freddy. And
right.
Afton is only the Yellow Rabbit, never Springtrap.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I will say he wanted to call what's the robot? The electronic version of Springtrap. What do we call him from Security Breach?
It's not Vanny. No.
It's something Trap, isn't it?
Yeah. Glitch Trap.
Glitch Trap. He came up with Malhair. And, like, that's such a good name. I'm so mad that the fandom couldn't wait on that one. In all other cases, the fandom has given a canonically better name to these things than Scott would. Okay, so here's what I think they will do in 3. I think that to mimic the game, right? Because it seems like they're trying to follow the gameplay in some way, shape, or form. It's going to be Abby gets kidnapped. I don't know why Abby's so goddamn important, but Abby gets kidnapped. Josh Hutcherson has to save her. It involves him having to figure out what's going on with Vanessa, and like he has to like reach her by actually like trying to talk to her instead of just saying like, get over your PTSD, woman. But they will be trapped in the center of some decrepit place, and Springtrap is slowly getting closer to them, and they have to find a way to like slow him down and distract him and all that other stuff, and they just need to escape. Michael
shows up and he's like, I'm good now, I help.
Oh god, yeah. So I think that's what they will do. I don't know what they're going to do with Michael. Michael does something to free his dad, and the dad goes, thanks, Mike, and then just stabs him. Yeah, he's gone. What I think they should do, they let the MCI kids move on. Like, that's the whole thing. That's the point.
But in 3, it's strongly implied, in the games, it's strongly implied that the only one haunting you is Will, and that the other like burnt animatronics are just like hallucinations.
According to some people, yeah. Some people think that that's legitimately the ghost, but I don't know why they would show up in a burned form if they were the ghost. That's irrelevant. We're pushing that aside.
I really do wish that they had shown the original location burning down. That and the franchise location, like they should have included burning them as part of the setup for the next one.
Yeah. But no, I guess my point is I don't want Josh to be haunted by the other 5, but I'm saying that like if we're going to follow the games, we want a happiest day, but we can't happiest day when the other 5 kids have already left. Unless it turns out that they didn't actually leave, they thought they were leaving, but like, goddamn.
Abby happiest dayed them.
Yeah.
With her drawing.
Well, then what about the puppet? Anyway, it doesn't matter. What they should do is they need to find a way to get Charlie to release her anger, just like is implied in Ultimate Custom Night, except that's someone else that's being told to calm down. So she moves on. Vanessa needs to find the courage to turn against her dad, and I think Michael Afton should also be broken free. I think he's a victim, and they need to kind of like talk him out of it. Like, don't you remember that time that dad slapped you? He wasn't a good dad.
I do think that it will probably open with him as the security guard at this entertainment, at this haunted attraction. And maybe that will be when he gets, like, backhanded by William Afton. And then he'll go to the main characters and he'll be like, guys, Dad's evil, actually, and we gotta get him. It didn't hurt me all those other times that he abused me.
This time
it did.
I also want to point out, I think the reason that the marionette, the puppet, got Vanessa, they're best friends. So I think that they're also going to have to like look at each other and forgive each other and talk about their feelings. So I think that's why they're trapped in one body. They're going to have like split personality, 2 brain syndrome, Jekyll and Hyde.
2 spirits, 1 body?
Yeah, maybe, absolutely. Okay. This is a long, quick review.
Yeah, you said it was going to be quick. We've been recording for over an hour already.
Yes. Take as much time as you want. But tell me how you would have script doctored this movie. What changes do you think need to be made or could be made to make it better?
Okay, really quick, going back to the first movie just to set up. No Abby. We're getting rid of Abby.
You crush her under 16 falling pianos?
She's just not a character. She never existed.
Not even in 1.
Not even in 1.
All right, bold move, since Scott loves having his child protagonists that are psychically linked to the animatronics, but go on.
Yeah, the father-daughter thing, even like brother-daughter, is very strong in Scott's work. You remember Capelia?
Capelia, yeah. Well, and like, they are brother-sister, but most of the time in media when you have brother-sister, there's like a couple of years between them, but this is
father
man
figure.
And, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so no Abby. Mike Schmidt is this like, kind of useless man, right? He experienced this horrible thing as a child and never grew past it, can't hold on to employment. he ends up responding to this job ad for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Freddy Fazbear's. And becomes a security guard there. And the first night, it's a little spooky, but he goes home. He's really into his dream theory thing, even still, right? Second night, he's like, something tried to murder me, right? Or somebody else broke in and they got murdered. And he's like, ah, heck. And that's when Vanessa comes in. And you build your way up to the ultimate reveal that Vanessa is Afton's daughter. Maybe she put that ad in the paper. And that there are ghosts in the animatronics. And he somehow gets Afton spring-locked and he escapes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what set us up for that's what the first movie set up. Second movie, Vanessa really wants him to believe that she's good now. She's like, my dad is dead, you freed me, I want to be close to you, we can be buddies. And he's like, I'm going to keep you at an arm's distance because you're crazy. Which is sort of what he did in this movie, but like, my bro can't commit. He was also trying to fix her, and like, that's not right?
Yeah, he decided to forgive her for the lies from the first movie until he encountered something else that he thought was a more important lie, even though it didn't affect him, and that caused him to not trust her anymore.
Right. But she's like, listen, you freed the ghosts at the first location, but there was a location before that, and my childhood best friend is trapped there. Can you help me? Right? From them, it cuts to this like ghost hunting group who's going to go in because you need extra people to murder. Like that's one of the appeals of some sorts of horror movies, especially Blumhouse movies, is like mass murder in campy ways.
Yeah.
So they go, and this guy Michael is the security guard, and he lets them in, and puppet things happen. Right. So that's kind of the conceit of the movie.
That's the setup. Yeah.
Right. Now we need to go to Charlotte and what's going on with her and what's going on with Michael. Michael is the child that she saved. Maybe she misunderstood what was happening. Maybe William wasn't even going to murder him, but he did something stupid, so he dragged him into the back to punish him. She goes back to save him. She ends up murdered. I like your idea of her dying after hours, right? So, like, she's Henry's child. She's at the pizzeria a lot. Maybe as it was closing up, she sees this kid get dragged in the back, and she's like, Dad, I saw something. Maybe it was through a window or something, so she didn't see which kid it was, because obviously she would have recognized her dad's business partner's other son.
Yeah.
But she's like, we got to go back. And her dad is like, no, I have stuff to do at home. We're leaving. Nothing happened. You didn't see anything. And she sneaks back in after hours, gets murdered. The big reveal is her being held by the puppet when the puppet comes up the next day. So you still get your dramatic, like, oh no, she didn't actually escape.
Right, okay.
When she rescued Michael, he was just asleep there or something,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
In the present day, rather than being, really obsessed with his dad, Michael wants a way to free Charlie, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, she's right, adults are bad. My dad was bad, the adults didn't trust her, and they were bad. I'm going to find a way to get her out of here, and we can punish the people who harmed us. Mm-hmm. Can't punish Dad because he's trapped in a different building somewhere. Haven't seen him in a few months.
And his language in the version we did get does seem to indicate that he thinks his dad is dead and not coming back. So at this point, he'd be like, I can't punish my dead dad.
Right. So, but we're going to punish everyone together. But he can't figure out how to free her, and she's got all of that dead spirit rage, so she lashes out if he gets too close. So he's got the music box on her until he can figure something else out. Vanessa goes there to try to, fix it. Vanessa inadvertently ends up letting her out, and then you get the rest of the movie. That, I think, would be a stronger movie, and it would pair some of these character arcs a little better.
Very interesting. Yeah, I almost wonder if maybe the ideas that, you and I come up with, and I'm sure other YouTubers will say, if they had changed this detail, it would have made more sense. I wonder if all of these ideas are in Scott's head, but he just can't put them out correctly. I have a whole video essay I'm going to write about that, but first I have to write about Andrew, and then I have to write all of these other...
He wrote about Andrew? He hasn't recorded the Andrew.
No, I've recorded
Bully
Andrew,
him.
I just haven't edited it, and also I probably missed some stuff that I'm going to have to add in later.
Bully him, bully him, bully him.
So, we have this idea of Mike wanting to move on. That's his main thing. That's why he doesn't believe Abby when she talks about her friends, or why he doesn't want to go help her or whatever. That's why he's lying. That's why when Vanessa tries to tell him something, he's like, shut the up. Even though it's your sister is in trouble, he's like, I don't trust you anymore. You listen to someone when they say your sister's in trouble. But, he wants to move on. Vanessa wants to move on, but she's also she feels trapped. So you have the movie start with 2 nightmare sequences. One is Josh reliving his time at the pizzeria, and he wakes up and he's so scared of what happened that he's like, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to whatever. And he's getting pretty frustrated with Abby, who keeps being like, I want to go back and see my friends. He's just like, no, you're not going back. Stop it. Vanessa is having dreams of her dad being an asshole. She remembers her childhood friend who she genuinely cared for. I think in the movie version we got that she does care about Charlotte, but part of me was wondering if she was still acting because she was her dad's accomplice in some way. So maybe she was trying to distract Charlie or something. Charlotte.
I got the impression that other kids are game for murder, but not Charlotte. Not Charlotte.
So, but we go to Vanessa. She wants to make amends for her past. Her dad is now dead as far as she knows, never going to come back. She doesn't know she's in a horror movie. And so she wants to make amends. And so she goes back to Freddy's original Freddy's 2 location, and basically tries to talk to her. And like you said in your pitch, just angry and doesn't want to be let out. But it's like banging on the metaphysical walls of her prison or whatever. And she's just like, I have to help you. I have to do something. And that's why she doesn't tell Josh, is because it's this personal thing. Look, I can tell you about some of the things my dad did. Maybe she has told him about some of the things, but she won't tell him about that specifically. And also maybe he doesn't want to hear it because he's trying to ignore his past, right? And so she's trying to bring things up, and he thinks in an unhealthy way. She thinks in a healthy way. He's trying to move on in a way he thinks is healthy, but she thinks is unhealthy. So you got this kind of friction there. Michael Afton, for some reason, probably because his dad died, has now decided to take up the mantle, and he's going to do the job, just like a lot of the ghost faces will do stuff because the previous ghost face was someone they knew and they're going to be the new ghost face. Michael Afton is doing stuff around town, and Vanessa notices, and she's the only one who's paying attention and knows all the details of the grisly murders. And so she tries to tell Josh, the person who helped her in the last movie, I think something is happening. And Josh, because he wants to leave in the past, your dad is dead. Just stop bringing it up. What are you talking about? Turns out there actually is someone who's manipulating stuff.
Oh, and you could even still have you didn't give me all the information, you weren't honest with me, if she's never I have a brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe there's even some scenes of her and Michael talking to each other where she's like, come on, dad abused you, don't you want to help? And I don't know how I would write Michael. I don't like him just being straight up evil, even if he's a victim of some circumstance. I think they should have made him be more conflicted if that's what they're going for. But I think in this version, if they really want the reveal that Michael was the villain all along, he's pretending to be better, like you also said earlier in this episode, and she thinks she can trust him. And eventually, when Josh comes in, she lied about him because you can't tell him about my past because there's some things that he might misunderstand. He might think that I actually did those murders that I've been falsely accused of. You can't tell him he actually did do the murders. Vanessa does keep that from Josh. Josh gets really mad. Why didn't you tell me? And then you have the reveal that he's the villain. And I think it should be basically a 3-4 person takedown of him. I don't know where you'd put the FNAF 2 gameplay in the movie, but basically classic animatronics from the first movie, Abby, Josh, Charlotte, and Vanessa trying to take out Michael, who has the Wizards and Balloon Boy and the toy animatronics, and hijinks ensue.
It could be good.
Yeah, could be good, I think.
Could be good. I like it.
And you know what I would do? Firstly, I'm pretty sure that news broke of who was going to play Henry Emily before the movie came out. Don't f***ing do that. Keep this under wraps. Do some NDAs. Scott, I know you're allergic to spoilers, so in this one case, it's okay to be weird and paranoid about letting people know. You cast Henry Emily in secret, you do not tell. Or you say, he's playing a guy named Barry or something, right? at the end of the movie, you post-credit scenes, we always love our post-credit scenes. Also, I think I'd probably try to do something with Garrett in my movie as well, like at least some little hint that maybe there's more to Garrett's death than we know about. But at the very end, credits roll, and then you hear, you know the sound. You'll know the sound when I describe it. It's the sound of prison gates opening, right?
Yes.
The buzzer sound or whatever. And it's someone behind a desk or whatever, and it's just like, today's the day that you finally go free. Looks like it's been 20 years. Here you go, Henry. And they give him like his glasses or something. And then it cuts. And that's how you know that Henry's going to be in the next movie. And it's going to be a mix-up of FNAF 3 with Springtrap. I keep getting those names mixed up. But Henry is also there, and he is trying to atone by beating the shit out of his ex-husband, who framed him for murder.
Flawless, yes. I like that much better than how they used him. There were too many things in this movie.
Too many things. This movie is so weird because it feels so short, and it feels like no one got any time to breathe, but also it feels like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like there's actually not that many characters, but they're all underutilized somehow.
Yeah. So, if I get around to writing this fanfic...
Which fanfic of the FNAF 2 movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I gotta write the first one first.
Right, and then you gotta, maybe you take a break in between writing those big projects in order to do a little Henry William smooching kind of story.
It's canon.
What do you mean it's canon?
It's canon in the same way everything else is canon.
Oh, yes, of course.
The thing about Henry and William being canon is now it is not just in the comics. It's not just heavily implied in the games. I'll find a citation for you. Don't worry about it. But now it's canon to the movie too, because William Afton is played by one of the original ghost faces.
Yes.
And Henry Emily is played by the other ghost face. And not only is it heavily implied in the movie that those two
there's homoerotic energy between them, big time.
But the actor...
Matthew Lillard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard has, in multiple interviews, been like, yes, they were a gay couple. I played them as a gay couple. That is canon. So they did this casting on purpose. So you would go, those men are gonna kiss.
And that has been your doot final thought. Outro goes here. That was a jump scare sound.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Well, friends, all journeys must end. And now today's journey has finished and we must bid you goodbye. We hope you have a good day, we hope you were kind to those around you, and we'll see you again. If you want to contact the show, you can do so at kingofthewhatpod@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on our YouTube channel or rate us on your podcatcher of choice.